Elite Facts presents
10 of the most amazing temples in the world.
10.
The Golden Temple. The Harmandir Sahib, which when translated means the abode of God, or otherwise commonly known as the Golden Temple in Punjab, India, is the most sacred shrine of Sikhism. For the Sikhs, the Golden Temple symbolizes spiritual independence and infinite freedom. The site of the temple began with a small lake that was so peaceful that even Buddha went there to meditate. Thousands of years later, Guru Nanak, the founder of Sikhism, also lived and meditated by the lake. Construction of this sacred temple began way back in the 1500s, when the fourth Guru of Sikhism enlarged the lake that became Amritsar, or Pool of the Nectar of Immortality, around which the temple and the city grew. The temple itself is decorated with marble sculptures, gilded in gold and covered in precious stones.
9.
The Chai Lin Temple grounds in Hong Kong. This nunnery is a golden pavilion that is sometimes called the Pavilion of Absolute Perfection. It can be found in Diamond Hill, Hong Kong, where it is surrounded by apartment buildings. The Chai Lin Temple is built from timber dating back to the Tang Dynasty. It is the only example of this type of architecture left in modern-day Hong Kong. The temple is surrounded by lovely grounds which are free for all to enter. There is even a restaurant serving vegetarian cuisine hiding behind one of the waterfalls in the gardens and disguised with spindly trees.
8.
Borobudur. This next temple was discovered during the 1800s, although all the evidence suggests that it had been in the Javan forest for hundreds of years prior to its discovery. When the Dutch occupiers of Indonesia came across Borobudur, it was a ruin. But be that as it may, it was an enormous one. It was constructed from almost 2 million cubic feet of stone and boasts more than 500 Buddha statues. The purpose of the Borobudur temple remains a mystery, as does the reason for it being abandoned. Some people think it was actually designed to be a physical teaching of Buddhism because of the stories told in its reliefs. They show Buddha's life as well as the main ideas of his teachings. If you want to learn about Buddhism through the Borobudur, then be prepared to walk more than 2 miles and navigate no fewer than 9 platforms.
7.
Gangotri in the Indian Himalayas. Next up, we have one of the most important Hindu temples, the Gangotri in India. This temple can be found in the Gaural Himalayas at more than 10,000 feet above sea level. Its importance lies in its location. To Hindus, the river Ganga is a living goddess, and the Gangotri temple was built at the source of the river. Even for non-Hindus, it's well worth a visit to the Gangotri. The landscape is awe-inspiring, with mountains, gorges, snowy mountain peaks, and of course, the famous river. For Hindus, the temple is especially holy. There is a tranquil aura about the place which makes it seem as though time stops while you're there. It's free to go inside the Gangotri temple, and you are not bound by any time limits, so you can stay as long as you'd like in the temple and around the grounds. It is only open to the public between May and November, though, as it is dangerous to travel there through the winter. The quietest time to visit is at the end of October.
6.
Honen Temple. The Honen Temple was constructed in honor of Honen, the priest who founded Jodo Buddhism. In fact, he starved to death while fasting in exactly the place where the temple was built. Honen was first constructed in 1234, but a series of fires and earthquakes reduced the 21-building temple considerably, and now the oldest part of the building is from the 1600s. In order to get to the Honen Temple, it is necessary to go through Japan's biggest gate. It's called the Sanmin Gate, and is 2 stories high. That's not the only biggest thing you'll see if you visit the Honen Temple. The bell that is found in the temple weighs in at a mammoth 74 tons. It's so heavy that 17 monks are needed to ring it each New Year. Inside the temple, there is a singing floor. It's located in the assembly hall and is specially designed to act as an intruder alert. The wooden planks that the floor is made up of purposefully creak as you walk across them, so no one can pass through without the monks noticing.
5.
Hawaii Temple, Kaneohe, Hawaii. Next, we have a temple which was built to commemorate the 100-year anniversary of the first Japanese immigrants to arrive on Hawaii. It is based on a Japanese temple that was built around 950 years ago. Hawaii's temple can be found on the island of Oahu and is open to visitors every day for the small fee of $3. Surrounded by the green leaves and foliage of the island, the red and white temple is a sight to behold. There is a reflecting pool verdant with a koi carp that is filled by a number of little waterfalls. The area is also home to some beautiful peacocks.
4,
Wat Rong Khun, White Temple, Thailand. Our next temple is in Thailand, a country where there are a vast number of places for people to go to worship. But there's something a bit different about the White Temple. It's modern and somewhat unconventional, with ghostly heads hanging from the trees found in the gardens of the temples and skulls placed on the tops of traffic cones. There's a wishing well surrounded by trees from which various metal keys hang, and the visitors' toilets are golden. Inside the temple, there are demons brandishing swords, but that's not all. A bridge leads the way to the inner sanctuary, but watch out, there are hands emerging from underneath the bridge, and the sanctuary is covered in Buddhist murals that depict cartoons like SpongeBob SquarePants, superheroes such as Superman, and even Star Wars. There are also images of the terrorist attacks on the World Trade Center, as well as pictures of George W. Bush and Osama bin Laden. All of this decoration isn't just for show. In fact, these scary symbols are there to deliver a traditional message in Buddhism, that you should conquer your desire, passion, and greed in order to achieve a state of nirvana, and that you should approach this in a modern, imaginative, and unique way. As its name suggests, the White Temple is completely white, with much use of mirrors in the modern yet wholly Buddhist decorations. The designer of this amazing temple was Chalermchai Kasitpapat, and there's no doubt that he has created something unique and very, very special. It is so modern that obviously it won't be to everyone's tastes. However, it is a clear demonstration of the designer's courage. It's still a work in progress, but well worth a visit, and it won't cost you anything to look around either.
3,
Prambanan, Central Java, Indonesia. The next temple was constructed during the 9th century and can be found in Indonesia. Prambanan is a Hindu place of worship that is dedicated to Shiva, Vishnu, Trimurti, and Brahm. The interior walls of the temple display magnificent carvings depicting a series of religious tales.
2,
Shwedagon Pagoda. The Shwedagon Pagoda can be found in Myanmar, but how long it's actually been there is a complete mystery. People say that it's 2,500 years old, but studies by archaeologists suggest that it could have been constructed somewhere in between the 6th and 10th centuries. The Shwedagon Pagoda is incredibly glamorous, covered completely in gold, which was gifted to the temple by a queen of the Mon people during the 1400s. This was the start of a tradition which is still upheld today, where pilgrims save up for many years in order to be able to afford some gold leaf, which they stick onto the walls of the temple. It's not just the gold that makes the Shwedagon Pagoda impressive. There are more than 2,000 rubies and 5,000 diamonds decorating the dome of the pagoda. At the top of the dome is a 76-carat diamond. All of this envelops a very special relic, 8 individual strands of Buddha's hair that can be found inside the temple.
1,
Tiger's Nest Monastery. Without a doubt, this is one of the most amazing sights you can see. Known to be among the holiest places in Bhutan, the Tiger's Nest Monastery can be found in Paro Valley, suspended on the edge of a cliff, around 3,000 feet in the air. It's said that the second Buddha flew on a tigress's back up the cliff, where he sat in a cave to meditate. The cave remains inside the monastery walls to this day. Before being named Tiger's Nest, the monastery was called Taktsang Goemba. It was originally constructed at the end of the 17th century, but was rebuilt nearly 300 years later at the end of the 1990s after it was destroyed by a fire. It's not on the tourist trail, and there are restrictions placed on who can use the monastery. Only practicing Buddhists are able to go there, and then only on a religious retreat.
Don't forget to like us and subscribe for more Elite Facts.